Good evening, Chris, and welcome to our global town hall meeting. Can I be heard? Can you all hear me? Accra units or okay, thank you very much. Where is my video? We will start this meeting in 2 minutes, Achimoton time on the dot. Just a few housekeeping rules ahead of our starting. I've just posted in the chat that it would be good if all of us can attach our year groups or add our year groups to our names as saved for ease of data capture and recognition and identification and all that. So if you go up to where your name is, you can actually just do a rename and just add your year group to your name as is. I see that some of us are also using, or typically with these things, a few people end up using nicknames and stuff like that, names of phones. It would be great if we could all kindly use our names, recognizable names, and then add the year groups for ease of identification. Thank you very much. I see that a Gadgesberg left a few minutes ago. I'm not sure whether that is Gordon or a descendant thereof of the house. So it'll be helpful if you could um, add your year groups to it. Thank you very much. There's a suggestion to maybe next time add our year groups on your registry. Yeah, I think it's a valid one. We learn and improve as we go along. But yeah. Okay, so Accra's good evening once again. It's 8 o'clock in Accra, 10 o'clock in Johannesburg, 4 p.m. in the United States, 9 p.m. in the UK, and whatever other time it is around the world. It's time for our global town hall meeting as advertised. Can I kindly ask Accra Eunice, if you're there, to please say us an opening prayer, and let's jump straight into it.
Good evening, Accras. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the gift of life. We thank you for the lives of all Accras, especially those online tonight. We praying for all Accras everywhere that they will all come on board as we plan our centenary celebrations. Heavenly Father, we are committing our centenary celebrations into your hands. We're praying that you guide us along the way, show us what to do, resource us to be able to do that, so that when we have a great celebration, praise, honor, and glory will be to you. For those who have not yet signed in, Lord, we're praying that whatever obstacle is preventing them, Lord, you take them away so that we have many Accras online as we put our minds together and plan a successful centenary. This and many other things we ask through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much, Accra Eunice. Accra Eunice, please go ahead and share the deck so we can jump straight in.
All right.
Also, just a few housekeeping rules. Please mute all microphones at all times. There'll be a session at the end where questions and every engagement will be allowed. So then we can all open up at the time, and then we will indicate by show of hand when you want to speak, and we'll call you up. But for now, please let's all mute, except those who are presenting. Thank you. Aquarius, we're good to go as soon as your slide comes up.
All right. Can you see it?
Yes, we can. Full view, please. Full screen view,
Oh,
please.
all right. Oh, come on. Oh, come on.
I'm happy to start whilst you try and figure that out, so we save some time. So maybe if you can go to the next slide so we can okay the agenda and then we can jump straight to it.
Just a minute.
Okay, so Akros, thank you very much once again for making time. Um, this is the agenda that will guide today's meeting. I'm hoping that we can all be out of here in an hour and a half max. Well, of course, it depends on the level of engagement and whatever it is. We don't do this often, so I want to make sure also that once we are here, whatever suggestions, thoughts, ideas, we can speak to them and address all of them and move away with clarity on what it is that we need to be doing for our alma mater and for ourselves as Aquas. So our agenda is, we've said, gone through the opening prayer. Item number 2 will be opening remarks, which is what we're doing now. And I will walk us through the OAA strategic plan. After that, Accra Harold Eseku, who's chair of the Centenary Planning Committee and also our vice president, will give us an update on the centenary celebrations and events around the centenary. He will then pass it on to Accra Kofi Finn, who is the chairman of the Achimoto School Endowment Trust Fund, or the Asset Fund, who will walk us through the activities, the reason for being and the activities of the Asset Fund. And then I will come back and have a conversation, lead a conversation around the financing of the centenary celebrations that are before us. And then once we've gone with that and have gone through questions for all the parts preceding, we would go into an AOB section and then we'll say a closing prayer. And of course, we will close as we always do with the school song. So that's our agenda. Agra is happy to jump into the
Uh,
plan.
just a minute. I think I did the wrong thing. Hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on.
So whilst you're doing that, continuing opening remarks. Agras, like I said, thank you very much. We're already 69 on the group today. I'll walk you through why it is that these global town halls are critical to the cohesion and the success of the OA on us as a crest, and of course in our remit for supporting Achimoto School. Um, so we've done this is I think the second town hall event we've had this year. We have a few other meetings coming up this year. We have an AGM on the 31st of May. We have we're trying to reactivate, and I'll speak again about that in a little detail further on. Reactivate our chapters in especially the USA and the UK. As we go towards Achimota at 100, we're also trying to make sure that we can reactivate or at least give um, some impetus to the chapters in the various regions in Ghana, especially our middle belt in Kumasi and the northern region, to make sure that we are rallying all across everywhere for Achimota at 100, which will be a grand celebration of our alma mater. Now, to do that, Aquarius, should I go ahead?
Yes.
Next slide,
Oh,
please.
just a minute.
So we've asked ourselves a few questions. Since we took office, we tried to do a sense check of where we are, first of all, as a school, because ultimately we are crest because of our alma mater, we are crest because of Hashimoto School. So we try to get a sense of where Hashimoto School is today, or if you like, where Hashimoto School was last year. And to do that, we went through a certain process because we're clear in our minds that Hashimoto School, as at that time, and indeed today, stands as a crossroad where we're rich in heritage and goodwill, but we're facing certain challenges. One, declining academic standards, and we all see it, especially when it is that we come back from science and math
Right.
quizzes, or the WIAC puts out
Mhm.
school rankings based on academic performance, our phones just won't stop ringing. It shows you how much we care
This one.
about our Achimoto school, because
This
all of
one.
us went there based on merit, went there because of the quality the school
Mhm.
offered. And indeed, it's that school that has made us what we are today. So the fact that seemingly our academic standards are declining is of major concern to all of us. Our school is challenged as far as infrastructure is concerned. Now, the school population, and I've put out a couple of videos in the past that speaks about some of the challenges that we are facing. But the school population that I saw, for instance, in the 1980s was a maximum 1,700. For older across online today, you probably saw, I don't know, 1,500, maybe at some point in time it was 900. Our school was a city, the great city, had all kinds of facilities, from our own hospital to our own police station to our own swimming pool, you name it, to our own school farm. Now, over time, the, those facilities have not been improved upon or be added onto. Rather, our student population has increased threefold. So today, for a three stream school, our student population is 4,800. What that means essentially is that the entire student population we had, say, in the 80s of 1,700 thereabouts, is what is admitted into the school each year. Now, for those of you who were in Achimota in the 70s or in the 60s, that's probably 6, 7 times the school population as you knew it. Now, over time, of course, Accras have contributed based on year group reaching milestones to do various things. A classroom block here, refurbishing there, this, that, and the other. But the infrastructure generally in Achimota School has not been expanded in line with the expansion of the student population. Another issue with our school today is weak governance. And we've had this ongoing conversation about autonomy and how it is that we can get involved in making sure that the school is managed properly. We have a say, or the school board has a say in the managing of the school, in the hiring of teachers, in the firing of teachers, in discipline, and all of those things. And we'll speak a little about that a little further. There's limited funding on the back of things like politics, the free SHS here, blah, blah, blah. People are going to schools like Achimota, not just Achimota, but schools like Achimota, and not paying anything. So indeed, students are going to Achimota. A boarding institution like Achimota uh, can turn on lights, open the tap, and not pay a CD for it because of a certain system that we're running. Um, Hashimoto School is facing poor, or if you like, suboptimal alumni engagement because Accra University, if you go to the next slide, um, at the end of the day, Accra's are, as we say here on this slide, the only permanent, the only stakeholder that has a permanent interest in Hashimoto School. So as we did a review of where Hashimoto School is today, it's important that we also did a review of what Hashimoto, the OAA itself is today. Now, when I say that Achimota is the only permanent stakeholder, what that means is, when I say that Acres are the only permanent stakeholder, what that means essentially is that governments come and go, heads of schools come and go, ministers of education come and go. They all come with different policies as suits them. Some will play to the gallery, some will play political expediency. They'll do whatever it is that they want. But the only group that are forever interested and focused in Achimota School, the school itself, are the old students, the Akres. So, regardless of which government is in power, you can be sure that Akres have Achimota School's interest at heart. If you look at the OAA today, we are in a situation where our Akres are scattered all around the world. Truth is, the level of engagement of Akres, for whatever reason, is suboptimal. It's far below par. I mean, we've advertised this global town hall, for instance, over the last 2 weeks on every single platform one could think about. As we speak, 12 minutes into this meeting, there are only 112 participants in this meeting. And we all know that the Accra population around the world is in the thousands. So why are Accras not as engaged as they should be? But that's the situation today, and we plan to deal with that. There's no clear plan for enhancing Accra relevance. We don't have a comprehensive database that, for instance, tells us where everybody is, what they are doing, and how we can reach them, and indeed how we can support them. There are no clear benefits for being in Accra. We go to Accra all the time. There's this problem here. The school has this problem. There's this child who has this problem. We just keep going back to Accra on and on and on. And the question must be asked. So, really, at the end of the day, yes, we love our school. The school has made us who we are today. But is there nothing else that Accra can benefit from being Accra? Whether it's in terms of items that we sell to each other, it's in terms of networking. What are the benefits? So that's one of the things that we looked at. And then generally apathy. For a school of like ours, for an alumni association like ours, for the numbers that we have, it's amazing how it's difficult to get people to put up their hands to something or the other, either for ourselves or for our school. So that's the OAA that we thought, this is the current situation of the OAA. So then we asked ourselves, what then do we need to do? According to this next slide. So having studied what, or haven't figured out what where it is that the school stood and where it is that the OAA stood, we thought it was important to have a strategic plan for the OAA. Okay, please go ahead. And so we engaged consultants. First of all, we thought, look, before we do that, let's engage Accra through a survey. So you will recall, for those of you who responded to that survey, that we sent out a survey, I believe, about 18 months ago, so maybe 18 to 2 years ago, asking our crest various questions about their interest, when the last time they engaged was, what would make them engage, this, that, and the other. And we got from this database or from this total potential Accra population size of thousands, 5,000, 10,000, whatever the number is, we got responses from, I believe, 200 and something. But that didn't deter us. We took that information because, of course, we all know what the challenges are. But we took that information from the people who bothered to respond and we built on it. Next, after that, we evaluated the survey responses. We engaged a strategy consultant who both happened to be, the firm happened to be run by Across. They led a select group of people. We tried to pull people from various epochs, various decades, and the OA executive. Sorry, something just popped up on my screen. Okay, all right, we'll deal with that point that's just been raised later. To come up with this, develop this strategic plan. And then, of course, post that, we are now engaging Accra to share the thoughts from that execution, that strategic plan, and of course, we'll go ahead and execute. Okay, yes, please go ahead. So, just before we go into the rest of the main conversation, I thought it was important, since we are here today, to walk you through re-walk you through, because we've shared this in an earlier town hall, some of the key highlights out of that strategic plan. So, first of all, we developed a new vision for the OAA. And remember, this is the OAA, not Hashimoto School, even though the two organizations, I guess, are very similar in terms of what our objectives and our goals are. But the vision for the OAA is to unite and empower the global Hashimoto community in service to the school and to the world. And our mission is to build lifelong connections within the Achimota alumni community, safeguard and advance the school's legacy and impact, and deliver world-class alumni experiences that inspire continued commitment, engagement, and contribution. Now, these two were arrived at from extensive workshops with these various groups to try and figure out ultimately what is it that we want to do, who do we want to do it for, and what do we want to be known for doing. And this vision and mission statement is what came out of those deliberations. And so that's the vision and mission statement for the OA going forward. Aquinas, please go ahead. Out of this, once again, just the key salient points for our information. We came up with 5 what we called must-win battles. One was to make the OA a world-class alumni organization. We think that if it is that we're going to be successful, we can't play in the leagues of what's happening in Ghana. We have to copy with pride what a world-class alumni organization looks like from anywhere around the world, whether that's a secondary school alumni association, a tertiary school alumni association, just alumni associations generally, what makes them tick, what makes them successful, and apply that to the OA. And we'll go give you a little more detail as to how we think we can do that. The next was to achieve autonomy for Hashimoto School. And once again, I'll break that down a little further. The third must-win battle was to win the hearts and minds of Accras. The fourth was to build a proactive alumni engagement strategy. And the fifth, to champion the development and protection of the school's assets, Hashimoto School's assets. Aquinas, please go ahead. So for the first one, in terms of making the OAA a world-class alumni association, two key pillars. I've mentioned one, learn from the best and have a world-class alumni organization. And two, guarantee consistency and continuous improvement to ensure that we are indeed best in class. Now, of course, under these ones, there are several items that we need to do to make sure that we're delivering on these pillars. The next one was to achieve autonomy for Achimoto School. One is to develop a clear funding model, and Accra Kofifin, when he presents on the asset fund, will probably speak a little about that. But top line, we are clear in our minds that ultimately we need to have a conversation and lobby whatever the powers that be, not just for Hashimoto School, but for a certain category of schools. A lot of them are being called Grade A schools. All of the terminology that's being used today, to give those schools and their boards some involvement, some autonomy in terms of the managing of the schools, if indeed the quality of education across the country is going to go up. Achimoto School, or the OA, has led or championed that, has championed the formation of what today is known as the Alumni Alliance. So essentially, we thought this through, we came up with a strategy, we brought a few schools together. We started by bringing a few category A schools together. We were clear in our minds that if we made this an Achimotan conversation, it would be stillborn, because several things. Achimotans are too known, Achimotans are this, and it can never just be for one school. So we thought, okay, let's pull together similar schools that have the same kind of situation or fall within the same kind of situation that we do. Make sure that there's gender representation, make sure that there's religious representation, make sure that there's regional representation. And so schools like Infantsipim, Adesadel, Wesley Girls, Holy Child, St. Augustine's from the Cape Coast region, Ebri Girls, Achimota, Accra Academy from the Greater Accra area, Presec also from the Greater Accra area. We made sure that the various mission schools were represented. So there were Methodist schools, there were Presbyterian schools, there were Catholic schools, there were Muslim schools. We make sure that there were representatives from gender, there were mixed schools and single gender schools. And we also made sure that there were representatives from every single region across the country. When we're done with that, we were about 30 something alumni associations that started what we call the Alumni Alliance. Today, that number has grown significantly because other schools hear about it and want to join. The plan is to rally all alumni associations together and start a lobby around getting some amount of control of the fortunes of our school, leading, helping with the management, supporting, especially for everything that we do to give back to our various schools. Then, of course, influence the politics to achieve autonomy. And I'm happy to announce that once again, we've led the conversations with the Ministry of Education. Some of you may have noticed the Ministry of Education announced sometime last week or the week before conversations around increasing the number of alumni reps on the various school boards. And I'm happy to say that this is once again based on the conversations that we led after we were invited to a meeting with the Minister of Education. Happy to see also that this Minister of Education seems to be welcoming the idea of collaborating with alumni associations towards managing the schools. So once again, we've started that conversation around trying to achieve autonomy for Achimoto School. Is that happening next week? Is that happening in 10 years? Will that happen in a lifetime? We don't know, but it won't stop us from trying. Aquarius, next slide, please. The next must-win battle was win the hearts and minds of Accra and Accra families. And the various bullet points under that, or the pillars under that, be present at every stage of the Accra journey, right from when they get into school. Now, for most of us who went to Achimoto School or attended Achimoto School anytime from 1927 to the 90s, there were 7 streams. We spent a good part of our lives there. Even when the system changed to the SHS system, when there were 3 streams, they did spend quite a bit of their time there. They got to know each other. They knew each other by name. They imbibed Achimotan culture. That is not the case for Achimoto School today, unfortunately. Truth is, the system that we're running today, even though it's 3 streams, actually means that there are effectively 2 streams in the school at every point in time because of the numbers. What that means is that technically, I'll give you an example. The last academic year, students got admission in September of 2025, went to school in October 2025, and vacated in December of 2025. Those Form 1 students, when they went home at Christmas, did not go back to school till end of March, because another set that was at home at the time had to come in. I believe it was the Form 2s had to come in. What that means is that technically you can go to a Chimoto school or any secondary school in Ghana running this system, and you wouldn't even know your classmates. Or you may not even have met some of the students in that school before you leave. That's the kind of school we're facing as we speak. And so we've got to be deliberate about making sure that we are engaging these students when they come in and inculcating the values of being an Achimotan or an Accra in them, if it is that we're going to get lifetime value out of them. Another pillar, ensure continuous and regular engagement with Accra like we're doing now. Lead with the asset fund and provide transparency to all students across and interested publics periodically. When we say lead with the asset fund, once again, back to autonomy and long-term vision for Hashimoto School. We are clear in our minds that if we're going to be successful in our conversation or engagement with any government, we've got to be able to show them a certain war chest that says that, look, if it is that, it's not just talk. If you give us some amount of control, if you give us a stake in the management of the schools, we have the resources to be able to hire teachers, we have the resources to be able to provide infrastructure, we have the resources to be able to change curriculum and all of those things. So we are clear in our mind that we need to build that war chest, and the target is to raise 10 million US dollars by the end of the anniversary year, to be able to then fund, given the opportunity, Achimoto School, or begin at least the funding process for Achimoto School. Another pillar under winning the hearts and minds of Accra and Accra families, showcase the impact and sustainability of Accra support. And of course, the final one, develop an Accra benefit scheme or framework. And like I said, under each of these ones, there are lots of tactical activities that we need to do to be able to be successful. Aquinas. And build a proactive alumni engagement strategy. Introduce students and parents to a comprehensive Accra cycle framework. Once again, especially because they are there only 3 years, once again, in those deliberations, we came up with a strategy to say, listen, it can't just be just the students. We need to have a strategy of engaging the parents, whether they're Accra parents or parents who've just managed to get their students into Hashimoto School. Let them understand what it means to be an Accra. Let them understand everything that all the values that were inculcated in us. We've got to be deliberate in making sure that we're passing it on to the next generation. And then, of course, develop a comprehensive calendar of events for structured student engagement. The final one, right, is champion the development and protection of the school's assets. Day in, day out, we're being asked to provide something or the other. Now, it's not okay to just provide and leave. Once again, as far as the asset fund is concerned, we are being very deliberate in terms of strategy now to say, listen, don't just build a classroom, don't just build a dormitory, don't just build a washroom. For every asset that we put into Achimoto School, we're making sure that a certain percentage is put into the asset fund for maintenance, so that way we can make sure that we're not being called upon all the time to, oh, you spend the money, but come back 5 years later and come and maintain. There's a dedicated fund within the asset fund that the school can tap into to make sure that the investments that we make in infrastructure in the school are maintained long term. And whilst we are doing all of this, unfortunately, as we speak, the school doesn't have an asset register. We don't have a development plan. We have the lands. We're always fighting people, encroachers, blah, blah, blah. So help the school and the school board come up with a long-term plan for utilizing the school's land and other assets for the benefit of the school. So once again, that was the fifth strategic objective. So when all is said and done, to make this happen, the question is, what's our role as Across? We broke them into 4 main buckets. Give, and we will speak about how we can give, how we can support. But essentially, support the school, support Hashimoto School, and we're saying that let's all put our energies and our efforts in doing that through the asset fund. And then serve. Some of us, we don't always have the money or whatever, but we've all been there. We all know something. We all work somewhere. We all can mentor the next generation of Accras. So volunteer or mentor to do something in the school, something with students, something with helping teachers, something with organizing events. Let's do something for our school. Let's volunteer to do something for our school, whether it's in cash or it's in kind. And then connect. Once again, we are 143. There are lots of events, and people don't attend these events. We have a centenary celebration coming up in Accra. Harold will walk us through a battery of events that have been planned. If we organize these events, if people spend their time and resources and energy organizing these events and people don't attend, then we're losing out. So connect, find out how you can benefit, how you can support, but also how we can network. Because truth be told, the kind of network that we have as a crest is unparalleled anywhere. So if we can connect, if we can engage, not only can we help our school, but we can stand to help each other as well. And then of course, be the champions and advocate for Achimota excellence. So we summarize the action points for us as a crest into these buckets. And I'm sure there'll be occasion for me to go over this and explain more and share the various documents. But given that we have this meeting today, we just thought it would be important to share this. Now, if we're able to do all of this, the question is, what would success look like? We gave ourselves a 3-year window to be able to achieve as much of this as possible, and then to be able to have other people or whatever build on it. And we said success would look like we would have an asset fund with assets under management of 10 million US dollars in cash and kind by the end of 2027. We'll have a highly engaged Accra community. We would increase representation on the school board and get some level of autonomy. And like I said, I'm happy to note that that's already happening. Effective school asset management framework would have one in place. And then, of course, there'll be global recognition for everything that we've done, me leading up to that. So, in terms of a strategic plan for Achimoto School or for Across, not Achimoto School, for the OAA, these are the building blocks that we've put together so far. And we'll be building on that, and we'll be asking and encouraging and pleading with all Across all around the world to support with ideas, with attendance, with engagement, with cash, of course, and everything else that we can do to make sure that we have a solid world-class alumni association, and we're in a position not just to help our alma mater, but to help ourselves. I will now pass on to Accra Harold, who will walk us through. Clearly, we all know that Achimota turns 100 next year, and there's been, according to this next slide, lots of plans over the last, I believe, over the last year, putting together plans towards how we can make sure that this famous centenary is worthy of our mother Achimoto School. Accra Harold has been leading the charge, and I'll hand over now to him to take us through plans for the centenary. Accra Harold?
Please let me ensure that he's unmuted.
Thank you very much, Accra Eunice.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, Accra President, you just mentioned, thank you very much, Accra President, for the presentation so far. And, please go back one slide. Accra Eunice, can you hear me? Please go
Yes,
back
I
one slide.
can. I can. Just a minute. Oh, it's
So
frozen.
we started work in 2023. August 2023, a call went out asking year group.
Is this a slide on the next one?
The next one.
Okay.
Yeah. So we held our inaugural meeting in September 2023. That's 2.5 years ago. A number of committees were formed, and all the committees were to start work. Each committee developed its own terms of reference based on what had been done in the past and what they plan to do for the centenary. And the first task we set ourselves to was to come up with a centenary theme, which was, that call went out immediately in our first meeting. Accra Eunice, next slide. And what the key thing that came up in that meeting was that who is celebrating Achimota at 100? Who is it for? Key points. It is Achimota School, which is 100 years old. So the school administration is celebrating teaching and non-teaching staff, students in the secondary department, and very important, students in the primary department are also involved. So if you happen to be at the Founders Day last month, you realize that there were students from the primary school involved in a number of the activities that were done. Then the OAA itself, every Accra living everywhere, let's come together, join, and celebrate Achimota at 100. All students of Achimota Primary as well, and then all teachers of Achimota School. So the various committees that have been set up, for most of them, we have a cross-section of students, teachers. In fact, there's a teacher in every single committee which has been set up to date. Next slide. What was the theme we came up with? I'm sure we all know it by now. At least we've seen it. Achimota at 100, celebrating the vision, honoring the legacy, and inspiring the future. We got various submissions. Nobody gave this specifically. We put all the submissions that we had received, had a discussion at a plenary session of the various committees, and then we came up with this. And then the next task we set ourselves was to come up with the centenary logo. Next slide. So a committee was set up, and we targeted to launch the logo on January 28, 2024, the day Achimota turned 97. We got a number of submissions. A team was set up to evaluate. The team was made up of the Centenary Planning Committee, the OAA brands team, and representatives from Achimota School. And this is the logo which we have been using for the last 3 years, 2.5, 2 years, 3 years. We have been working with this logo, and all of us know this is what we are working with. Accra President, I want to make a small caution here. This week, we have received information that a number of people have started doing all kinds of paraphernalia and things using this centenary logo. Please, we are appealing to you. It is for us. And if you want to do anything with the logo, please get in touch with us before you put it on anything and try to make money out of it. Get in touch with us. We'll work together so that whatever you want to do, we can work together as the OAA and Achimota School to get whatever it is out. Thank you very much. Next slide. Since 2024, what have we done? We launched the logo and impressive ceremony in front of the art block. We did a number of health walks. First one preceding the logo launch. We've been holding quarterly Centenary Planning Committee meetings, and all the committees brought their terms of reference. We consolidated it into one, and then we had budgets for the activities plan for 2024 and 2025. And the documentation committee specifically launched a fundraising, because one of the key tasks we had set ourselves to was to have a history of Achimota School over 100 years. So a historical documentation committee was set up, and they launched fundraising because we needed to hire somebody to prepare the history of Achimota School and all of that. As part of the work of that committee, we've received a lot of material. We're in the process of setting up an Achimota museum also. That is taking some time, but we'll give you the history of all of that. And in that year, Accra president has just put out that our logo is a registered trademark. So if you use it without permission, there are laws which will be dealt with you. I don't want to say that our lawyers will be happy to test this case, but that's another thing. In 2024, we had the 60th anniversary of Festival of Nine Lessons and Carols in Ghana. So the Achimota Subjugates Committee supported the celebration of the Festival of Nine Lessons and Carols in December 2024. And we launched a competition for the centenary cloth. That has gone through a lot. 2025, let's move on. 2025. In January 28th, currently on the 28th of January every year, the school organizes a flag raising ceremony at the forecourt of the art block to commemorate the exact date when the school was established. So every year the OAA supports the school, and I'm sure many of us see the pictures that go out. So in 2025, last year, January 28th, we launched the new school farm project. And today we're in the school. We have demarcated the new school farm. It is between Alnumle, heading towards Gimpa. The place has been fenced, and as we speak, quite a good portion has been tilled. Today they were doing what the Greek specialists harrowing or whatever today. And this year, we are going to start planting some corn, maize on the farm. We continued with our quarterly meetings last year, and the centenary raffle was launched with quarterly draws. that has not been very successful. Many of us have not participated in the centenary raffle. We'd like to encourage each and every one of us to, it's a form of raising funds towards the school, and you could win something out of it. In November last year, we performed the Blinkers. It was done in the old assembly hall. Accra's and students of the school came together, and it was a grand performance. We also supported the Festival of Nine Lessons and Carols last year. It was held in a new assembly hall because the Agri Chapel was under rehabilitation. Next slide. We continued with last year. One thing we did was to bring the various year groups together. We put a notice out. If any year group which wants to provide information to help us with centenary activities, plans, we met with a number of year groups. However, at this point, I'd like to state that one of the biggest challenges we have faced is ideas. Accras do not lack ideas. We've had so many suggestions, so many ideas that have come up. Unfortunately, we have the same number of people championing all the ideas that come to us, making it very difficult to implement. Let's take today as an example. We put out that we have inter-house football tournaments. It's been shared widely over the last week. I was there from 8:30 to 5:30 today, and I can count the number of Accras which were present. Some houses could not raise a football team of 11 people. I mean, it's difficult to appreciate what is Accra president mentioned it in his present. What should we do to bring Accra together to help us? Some of the committees have over 100 people. If meetings are called, you have 4 or 5 people attending the meeting. Maximum 12, 13 people attending a meeting. It's been very difficult for us to get all the activities which have been planned to work. So the committees were tasked to identify activities they want to implement and how it fits specifically into the centenary, the impact it will have on Achimota now and in the future, and how we'll raise funds for those activities. As it's been challenging, these are the committees we have. Achimota Speaks, Achimota Subjugates in Worship, from Gambaga to Accra Committee, Historical Documentation, Homecoming Memorabilia, Opera and Drama, Publicity, Sponsorship and Fundraising, and then Sports and Health Walks. They've been put in alphabetical order. When I made a presentation once, I was asked why I arranged them in a certain order. So to avoid anything, I just put them in alphabetical order. The last 2 committees, the celebrating year groups, 77, 87, 97, and 2002, have specific activities they are to carry out. So they have been put in a special committee. Lots of people who do not belong to those year groups have joined those committees. Well, if you want to help them, that's fine. And then the finance committee, if you want to support us, you can join sponsorship and fundraising. But the finance committee is specifically for the OAA finance committee, auditing and making sure that the funds we received are used properly. Next slide. So this is key activities that we have planned. We did activities 2024, 2025, 2026. A number of activities have been done. Flag raising ceremony, like I mentioned, we did it on 28th January. We had a health walk, and then a tennis tournament, which was organized on 31st January. We brought a number of schools together, Presec, Abri Girls, Adi School, Wesley Girls, Infantsipim, and again, the attendance, the participation by Accras was minimal. And I had the misfortune of having to give most of the trophies to other schools for their participation because the Accras who were involved were very few. We had a bonfire, cadet parade, Founders Day Deba last month, and then Thanksgiving service and Achimota Speaks was also done last month. Today is 18th April. We had our OAA Inter-House Soccer tournament. And just by the way, I'd like to mention that Livingston House won the final match against Gaggisberg. They won on penalties. Congratulations to Livingston House. I was next door to Livingston. Against Jamfi House.
Livingston and Jamfi.
Livingston beat Jamfi House. And I'm next door to Livingston. I had the misfortune of presenting the cup to Livingston House. Congratulations, Livingston House. Thank you very much. This was
We're
a
living.
prelude. This was a prelude to an inter-school soccer tourney, which is scheduled for 29th and 30th of May. So based on what's the performance today, some players have been selected, and then we will we'll prepare for the inter-school tourney. Information will be going out. So those of us who want to join, you are welcome to join. In June, maybe the dates for the launch of the centenary cloth and launch of memorabilia are not cast in stone. We have samples of the cloth, school cloth, ready. It was shown at the last OAA reps meeting. We showed the cloth to those who attended the OAA reps meeting on March 14th, just 5 weeks ago. So we are in the process. It will be launched soon. And then homecoming, EU, Great Britain. It's rather 3rd of June, not 27th of June. They were not able to get that date. So it's now been scheduled for the 3rd of June in London. Further and better particulars will come out. And then July 4th, July 5th, we'll be having homecoming in North America in the middle of the World Cup. So further and better particulars. Some information has gone out. More information will be going out on that in the coming week. And we have Accra Fun Day games planned for 1st August. Together with Accra Party in the Park, we're inviting all of us to be there. And then Subjugates, a choral fest to be held on the 19th of September. And then we have a inter-school basketball tournament also scheduled for 26 September. In October, the Subjugates team will be organizing a prayer fest to pray for the centenary. So that will be on the 24th October. And then we have a speech and prize giving day, another drama to be held on 21st November. Achimota Speaks, the final edition before Achimota at 100. And then the Festival of 9 Lessons and Carols, and now the annual Records Night, which has been championed mainly by the 77-year group and a few others, will be coming off on the 26th of December. There are some activities which go on all through the year. The Achimota story is being prepared. We have a number of pop-up markets, fundraising and sponsorship drive, as well as the centenary raffle will be going on. Next slide. Into the centenary, the first activity that is planned for the centenary is Gambaga to Accra. Currently, we have 2.5 people signed up to walk from Gambaga to Accra. They'll be doing it over a 21-day period. 2 of them are confirmed. 1 person is considering if they'll join. We're asking Accras who are interested to sign up for the walk so we can actually plan for you. But the ground one is the drive. We start from the art block on Friday, 22nd of January 2027. We drive up north, go to Gambaga. We will be visiting a number of key sites along the way, visiting key tourism sites along the way, visiting a number of prominent chiefs in Ghana, starting from the Nairi to the Otunfo to the Gamanje to the Ochehene along the way, and visiting some interesting sites along. And when we come back, the Saturday after, we return on the 28th, which is a Thursday. We will have a flag raising ceremony forecourt of the art block where the centenary will actually start, first activity for the year. And 2 days later, we have activity Rocking Motown. The idea is we want everybody to know what we stand for as Achimota, the kinds of what we do as Achimota, the clothes we wear, everything. So we'll have this event, and after that, we'll expect all of us as we go through the year showcase Achimota wherever we find ourselves. Our car memorabilia sales will boom. We're expecting it. Our cars will be draped in OA paraphernalia. Whatever you address, there should be a touch of OAA on it. Please move to the next slide, 2027. Sorry, move back, go back. Sorry, the slide still stays 2026, but we are actually in 2027. So sorry, there's the subtitles have a mistake, but the dates given have the 2027. So we have the sports fest in February, and then cadet parade this next year, because Founders Day falls on 6th March, the 6th March. We are planning to have the cadet parade a week before. The bonfire will be the previous night, and then the Founders Day ceremony, the Deba, will be on the 6th of March in the afternoon. We've tried to free up a little bit, but we are still working with state protocol, with Jubilee House, and we hope we're able to maintain this date. Thanksgiving service will be on the Sunday. And for the Thanksgiving service, it's going to be one with a difference. And when we get to the costing, we see that we have to hire tents. Over the last few years, when we have the Thanksgiving service, the assembly hall has proved way too small for us. And we know that for the centenary, we'll have more people. So we are planning something big for March 2027. The second quarter, we have a swim fair, cricket tourney, and a Mediterranean cruise. From Monday, information will go out. Accras who want to participate in the Centenary Mediterranean cruise, information will go out, and we should register. We are opening it up to other alumni, other schools who also want to participate. Accras are being given the first opportunity, and others who want to join us. Some of us have siblings, we have very good friends, we have husbands and wives from other schools who like to come along with us. So everybody can join us for that event from the 16th to the 23rd of May. Budget per head is somewhere around between $1,500 and $2,500, depending on what your take is. If you want to go, the team leading is asking, register $500 down and pay the rest over a period. We have other activities planned. Achimota Nature Day. One of the things for Achimota School is we have the Arboretum. There are a number of things we want to do on that day to showcase the love we have for Achimota. And then the centenary drama by students of Achimota School will be in June. And in July, we will be having James Eman Kweje Agri. He passed away on the 28th of July, 1927. So 100 years after that, we want to commemorate the day. So Achimota Speaks for that month will be focused on Agri and the impact he had on education in Ghana. And we've planned a memorial service, Agri at 100, the Sunday after that. And then the Centenary Homecoming, the big one, is planned for 13th to 22nd of August. And that's a 10-day event. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. In that 10-day period, we are asking every Accra living everywhere to organize something Achimota, wherever you find yourselves. We want to showcase Achimota. Let everybody know that Achimota School is 100 years old. There'll be some key activities organized in Achimota School, but we expect every year group to plan an activity somewhere in the period to celebrate and to make let everybody know what Achimota has achieved. Two of the activities have been indicated here: the Accra Fan Games on 21st of August, and then the Mochela, which will be happening. Mochela, the younger Accras who are championing this can give further and better particulars on this. For the last quarter, we have planned inter-school soccer. We have the centenary speech and prize giving day. An opera is planned, Festival of 9 Lessons and Carols, and then a grand centenary ball and the record night. Then we have the year-round activities. Kindly note that these are not, what I've presented is not exhaustive. There are some other activities which have been planned. The challenge we are having is that we don't have enough people committed to help us with these activities. So for example, we have a music, there's a music show planned, a musical concert planned possibly for the week of sometime in March. We are working on the details. It may come up. We are looking at inter-house sports, all across, going back to the school and supporting their houses for a mega inter-house sporting event. That there's a possibility of that being added. We have the potential of having an arts festival where we are going to showcase actors who have done various activities, various paintings, whatever. Those are all possibilities, but we are working on putting it together. So this program, as we see, is as of today, this is what we have. Other activities may come on board. And last month when we met, we had 156 people on the Centenary Committee. Now we have over 500 people. We open it up. Anybody who wants to join can join and help us. Even though now the number has exploded, it's still not turning out into people actually working. We get lots of suggestions, include this, add this, do this, but it is the same 12, 13 people who are running around doing everything. So we are hoping that with this meeting, more suggestions will come up, but beyond the suggestions, we'll have more people committed to help us make the centenary a success. The next 4 slides is just a repetition of what we have over here in a bar chart form. So just skip over it. It's exactly the same thing we have over here. So thank you very much. I want to hand over now to Accra Kofi Finn, who happened to be in Livingston House, who won the inter-house soccer tournament today. Accra Kofi Finn. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Accra Harold, and I hope everyone can hear me. As you
Yes,
can
we
imagine.
can.
Excellent, thank you. As you can imagine, I'm actually quite happy today. I didn't make it to the games field, but it is very appropriate and proper that Livingston House won this. It will be the first of many of the other tournaments that come along for the celebration of the centenary. We made a mistake with the Asset Fund Inter-House competition and gave that to Stopford House out of respect for the president, but that will not happen again. Thank you. So I'm going to give a quick briefing of the Asset Fund. Our gradual president mentioned it a couple of times, and it is an extremely important part of the work that we're doing towards the centenary and towards the future of Achimota School. And so let's just jump right in. What is the Achimota School Endowment Trust Fund or Asset Fund? I'm going to refer it as the Asset Fund going forward. It was set up in 1989 as a fund established amongst the OAA, Achimota School, and trustees for the endowment of the school. The key aspect of this asset fund is that endowment is supposed to support the school financially towards the achievement of its aims and purposes. So specifically, it was to endow the school, it was to provide the school with financial support and other support in cash and in kind. It was to maintain some of the assets or the assets that the school has and to support and promote the aims of the school, the objects for which the school was established. As most of you know, Achimota School was one of the first schools focused on the education of boys and girls together. And we can't downplay the importance of that in the world then and in the world today. So 1989 is when it was started. There was an endowment that was set up. Work has been done over the years. But 3 years ago, the OAA decided that as part of the work towards autonomy and towards the long-term sustainability of the school, we're going to put a lot more emphasis on it. Next slide, please. The goal, therefore, is to make sure that the endowment is large enough so that the income from the endowment will sustain it in perpetuity and will be able to support the financial needs of the school. So let's keep that in mind. When that asset gets to its the target size, we're not going to be spending from it, but the income is going to be able to maintain it and to serve the purposes of the school. And this is extremely important if the school is standing on its own and it's continued to serve the objects for which it was established. Today, assets under management of the asset fund are 4 million Ghana cedis. 3 years ago, it was about 1.2 million. So it's grown quite a bit, but still not enough to do the work that it's supposed to do. Importantly, over the last 3 years, we've established sub-funds for the asset fund. These sub-funds allow us to direct the resources towards the areas of priority established by the school or by the donor. As an example, a STEM fund has been established. It was through that the science lab was, in collaboration with one of the year groups, was revamped last year, and it was seeded by an initial gift of $10,000 by an Accra. We continue to push that fund, but there are many other funds or sub funds that Accras can support. And if there's interest in providing support to the school in any way that touches the heart of either an Accra or a friend of Achimota School, there is the flexibility for us to set up a fund for that purpose. So we'll give some examples of that as we go along. We've supported recently the establishment of the new kitchen for Achimota School. It's been operationalized. The structure was there, but it wasn't completed. And from income in the fund, we've been able to do that and continue to look at ways in which we can continue to support the school. The key thing is sustainability. Contributions to the unrestricted funds of the asset fund ensure that that endowment remains forever. If we know some of the larger schools that are endowed, this is a very key important principle. 100 years from now, if Achimota School is operating, it's not going to be because people are continuing to give money to it, but it's because it can generate its own income from its investments in the asset fund that ensure that anybody can come to this school and the school can provide a world-class education. For that to happen, we're very, very focused on how we spend the money, and we're accountable to Accras and to Friends of Achimota who give us the money. A funding rule ensures that this can be done in a way that is sustainable, and our investment committee oversees that. Next slide, please. So today, the structure allows us to provide funds into the asset fund in a tax-deductible way. This is in line with world-class standards, because if you're giving money to a charity, there's got to be some benefit that comes to you outside of the good feeling that you get. That tax-deductible status has been established today in Ghana and in the United States, and we'll continue to roll out and explore ways in which we can get that done in all jurisdictions where Accras or Friends of Achimota School live or work or are domiciled, so that contribution will still be a benefit to them. So if you're in the US today and you contribute to Achimota School, you contribute to the US entity that allows you to deduct your taxes, to deduct the contribution before taxes are paid. For those of you who just filed your taxes on April 15th, I'm sure you can appreciate the value of that. So as you're making your contributions, make sure that you consider that. Make sure that you use that avenue. Donations are welcome from all Friends of Achimota School, not just Accras. Up to this point in time, the asset fund has been quite focused on Accras and on parents, but part of the strategy is to reach out to the broader donor community. Our school performs a service. That service touches the hearts of lots of people. Education matters. And so to all of the large endowments, corporate social responsibility areas, we're going to be reaching out to them, and we'll really seek your support and introduction to getting out to people who can, as part of their social responsibility, contribute to Achimota School in any area that they can, whether generally or in line with key areas that the school is looking to. And again, like I said, I'll touch on an example as we go forward, which is quite important to the school today. As we enter the centenary, there are two main areas that we're seeking to engage Accras on. The first is that by the end of 2027, we should have built an endowment of $10 million. Out of that $10 million, some of it will come from centenary specific contributions. So about 10% of that, if we're using today's exchange rate. The rest should come from the Asset Fund's efforts to raise money broadly, a significant part of which will come from Accras. The second thing that we're doing around the centenary and going forward is that the Asset Fund has to be the single destination for all giving to Achimota School, regardless of source. In the past, each year group has done its own thing. People have just gotten together and given in any way they could. We are actually trying to get everyone to do this through the Asset Fund, and it will become clear why this matters and why this is important to all of us. Next slide. There are 6 main reasons why this using the Asset Fund as the key conduit through which we give to Achimota School is important. A lot of us are approached by different Achimota groups seeking different funds for different reasons. And like most of you have said, there can be some fatigue. By directing everything through the Asset Fund, we can ensure that all your giving is in one place and can be recognized. And so if you decide that you're giving to the STEM fund or to the clinic fund or to the unrestricted fund, those are not going to be 3 different areas, or maybe to your year group. Those are not going to be 3 different or 4 different areas that are not connected to each other and for which all of your giving is not recognized as one piece and as substantial. So if we do it all through the Asset Fund, we can look at it and say, this Accra, this person, this parent has given, $20,000 to Achimota School. They broke it into 5 different areas that they cared about, and we're accountable for that money. Accountability is extremely important because it allows us then to track, to report, and to make sure that the money you give us is for the specific purpose for which it was given. The continuity aspect is also quite important, is that your support allows us to focus on both immediate priorities and for the building of the endowment over the long term, instead of this one-time fragmented giving that we tend to do. I think if we all do this through the Asset Fund as well, giving in a coordinated, sustained way ensures that the giving can be visible and impactful, right? Fragmentation has its issues, and we all know that if we do it together, we can make sure that we can coordinate, direct, especially when there's something that is extremely important to the school. And today, healthcare is one of those areas. I'll touch on it, but it ensures that we're all focused on the right thing at the right time. The Asset Fund is audited by a top 4 audit firm. It is governed under a trust deed. There are trustees who have fiduciary responsibility towards making sure that the money is used for its intended purpose. This is in line with world-class principles. If you're giving your money to Achimota School through the trust fund, a lot of the doubts that some people have about giving and whether their giving is going to the right place can be reduced. And then finally, it is important enough that through this, Accras can be engaged. The data that we collect, the information that we put together through the Asset Fund can ensure that we're able to put together programs and benefits for Accras who give and Accras who participate in a way that validates their membership. A lot of you ask, why should I be a member of Achimota School or the OAA? Why should I give to the school? We can put all of this information together and be able to go out there and get things that benefit you if we can do it all together in one place. So we're encouraging all year groups, all house groups, all affinity groups. If you are OAA doctors, if you are old members of the school choir, coordinate all of your giving and support to Achimota School through the Asset Fund so that it can be recognized, so that you can have trust in your giving, so that the giving is visible, it can be continuous, we can be accountable, and you can be recognized. Next slide, please. An example that I've been alluding to and that we've been working on is the clinic fund. And maybe Joel will mention that a little bit as we go along, but healthcare on the school campus today is an issue. And over the last few years, we've faced a number of issues for students that is definitely not representative of Achimota School and does not reflect for most of us who were there when the hospital was there, essentially the clinic for Achimota School. The quality of care that we got is not what students are getting today. And so this is a priority. And the Asset Fund has set up a fund that ACRES can give to support the establishment and, importantly, the ongoing management of a clinic to support the Achimota School community. We all see the projects that happen on Achimota School, but one of the key questions we need to ask is, once the project is done, can we ensure that that project is sustainable in perpetuity? With the clinic fund, that's what we're going to have to do, because you can't put up a building, say that you're going to provide healthcare to students and to the community, and not have it run at the standard and the level that you wanted it to. So any funds that we raise, any project that we do, any building that we put up, there has to be that sustainability, not just for a year, not just for 2 years, but in perpetuity. The same conversation is happening around the boarding houses that are being developed through funds from some across. These things have to be sustainable. And so once we do it through the asset fund, we can ensure that the maintenance and the viability is there. The clinic fund is just an example. Like I said, we have 21 funds we're working with. Please continue to give to Achimota School. Give through the asset fund and give in a way that touches your heart. Go and check us out. Check out the funds that we have. Pick one. It could be your boarding house. We have funds for the boarding houses, and give. And if there's a fund that you care about, something that you care about that is not there, get in touch with us and we'll help you set something up so that your giving can be directed towards your heart. Next slide. Thank you very much. This brings me to the highlight of my presentation today, which is that today the Asset Fund has created a giving portal that allows everybody to go and, in a safe, structured way, give to the Asset Fund. Most of you had some challenges when we did the inter-house competition 2 years ago. We were collecting money through Momo or through direct contribution to our bank accounts. Those of you who were outside of Ghana had really challenging times just getting the fund to the right place. Recognition was a challenge. The campaign worked well, but with this portal that we have, our ability to reach out to you and engage on campaigns and on specific issues is really enhanced. So we're going to run through a quick video where you can see how the giving portal works. And then we'll let you know how you can reach out to us with any questions. At the end of this conversation, after this town hall, I will challenge all of you to go to the website, check it out, test whether you can actually give. Just put your credit card in there and throw $10,000 on there and see if it works. And if it does, we'll be very, very glad about that. But Accra Eunice, let's go to the next page and let's run through the video so that we can all see what we're dealing with here. Adwa, you can also do $5,000. I can see you laughing at my $10,000. You don't have to do 10. You could do 5. Eunice, is the video working?
I hear the sound. Okay.
Oh. While we wait for the video to load, I saw a question from Charles asking we have a database of all Accra. So we have a couple of databases. We don't have one complete, exhaustive one, but the Asset Fund giving website allows us to register and to put in some information. And we want to use that as the beginning um, for gathering this data. So apart from giving on the website, when you go on there as well, please provide some information about yourself. And we'll deal with all the questions at the end of the of this session when we get to Q&A. Eunice, are we not? Is it not working?
No, it's not. It has sound, but no.
The video is not working. Okay.
No.
Akras, we have two versions of this video, one for mobile, one for desktop. We'll be shooting it out through all of the OAA channels. And so you'll be able to take a look at it and it'll give you an idea of what to do when you go to the website. Truthfully, though, there's nothing like kicking the tires of the real thing. So if we go to the next slide, we can continue with the conversation. We'll also share the link. Okay.
Should I go back to the address?
Let's go back to the address so that everybody will see, and then we can come back to this one. All right. So it's www.assetfund.org. That's the website where you can go learn more about the Asset Fund, see the different things that we're doing, and if you're so inclined, you can give. The key thing.
Actually, Sunday's hand is raised.
We'll do the Q&A after, if that's okay.
Okay.
For those of you in the US, pay particular attention when you go there. There's a specific area for the US tax exempt entity, and that will be the best place for you to make that contribution because it's recognized by US tax authorities, and we can handle your tax deduction that way. Final piece that I'd like to share with you, on the Asset Fund right now, we have 13 trustees who are working very hard to get this thing to work. But like Accra Harold said, a lot of these efforts can only happen if we all support in one way, shape, or form. So we've created an Asset Fund ambassador program. What is it? An Asset Fund ambassador is an Accra who will help build Achimoteh's future by learning about the Asset Fund and championing support for it within their year group, boarding house group, and wider Accra network. I actually would encourage us to champion the Asset Fund globally, wherever we may be, right? We're trying to find people who are touched by the mission of what we're doing and who will say, look, we're going to go out there and talk about you a little bit and encourage people in our network to support Achimota School. Okay, so that's what the Asset Fund is. Next slide. That's what the Ambassador Program is. What are the benefits to an ambassador? Pride. You can walk around with your head held high and a good feeling in your chest because you know that you've done something for Achimota School. We on our side will also make sure that our ambassadors are recognized and rewarded. Bragging rights. If you're an ambassador, it will be very clear when you're in a meeting with other Accras, exactly what role you play and the fact that you're special. We'll also work towards having exclusive events for ambassadors. Today, there's not enough money in the Asset Fund to support it. But if we all work together and we do what we're planning to do, there should be some expense line that can throw a party or two for ambassadors to thank them for the work that they have done. All in all, you'll be joining just an amazing group of people who are working practically to support Achimota School, not just when it's a year group project, but all the time. So if you want to become an ambassador, reach out to us at info@assetfund.org and we'll get you signed up. Okay? That brings me to the end of this presentation. I'll be very happy to answer questions, field any concerns at the end of the session, but I'll hand over back to Joel for him to continue with this town hall. Thank you very much for your time and your attention. Most grateful.
Accra Kofifin, thank you very much. Thank you very much also to Accra Howard Seku. So let's jump into the fourth part of the fourth segment of this town hall, which is essentially financing the centenary celebration. So we've spoken about the centenary celebrations. We've gone through the list of events planned here in Ghana and across the world. And I'd also like to refer to communications that has gone out to all of us in the Accra world about our contributions, year group contributions towards the centenary celebrations and the asset fund or Achimota School post the centenary. So I want to take advantage of this town hall to try and address those sentiments that have gone out, those communications that have gone out, and how it is that we arrive at them, and what we need all Accra year groups to do to support to bring the centenary celebrations to fruition. Next slide, please. So let me start with a little background. We all agree that a centenary is a significant milestone in any institution's life. For the last 3 years, we've all been gearing up towards Achimota at 100. We've seen other schools, I don't want to describe those schools, attaining various milestones and all the noise, quote unquote, or the celebrations that they are having. And Achimota schools can be no less than that. So it's a significant milestone in any institution's life, especially in Achimoto's life. We're turning 100 at a time when both Achimota School and secondary education in Ghana are at crossroads. Okay, so it's not just love and fun, it's not just happy-go-lucky or just excitement, but as we celebrate, as we plan big events, as we plan cruises, as we plan homecoming events, as we plan grand balls, we've also got to pause and look at where Achimota is, what it's supposed to be, where we are, and where we need to be, or where Achimota School needs to be in the next 100 years. 100 years in our life is a good time to plan for the future as well. So yes, it's a time for celebration, but it's also a time for planning for the future. And all of us across, all of us who've benefited from this Achimotan experiment must at this time contribute to the sustenance of that very vision in one way, shape, or form. Not just cash, but like I said at the beginning, ideas, suggestions, mentoring, support, volunteering in any form. We've got to contribute to ensuring that there is an Achimota School that's existing 100 years from today. Next slide, please. So the question is how? There are different ways, ideas to make first the celebration and then sustenance of Achimota School. Realistic ideas. I put in brackets realistic because to the point that Harold made, we go into a OAA representatives meeting. Let me qualify that. OAA year group presidents and representatives meeting. We share initial thoughts, we debate, we jaw. And at that meeting, several people say, oh, I didn't know about this. Join. Suddenly, we've blown the centenary planning committee numbers from 140 to 500. Unfortunately, people have written their names really for the fun of it because they have attended no meeting, they have put in no input whatsoever, and yet today we say that our number is 500 Accras willing to organize for Achimota School. So it's not numbers for numbers' sake, it's the quality of the numbers that would make an impact. So please, by all means, let's all join and let's support. But if you honestly can't do it, please don't write your name for the sake of it, because it actually also deters the few 5, 6, 7, 10, 20 people who are going out there day in, day out, given their all not just to the centenary celebrations, but to Achimota School in various shapes and forms. So 1, contribute ideas. 2, please participate in organizing these events. It's not enough just to say, oh, you know what? I think Achimota School has a strong heritage in music, so I think we should do X, Y, Z in music. Or you know what? We haven't celebrated arts in Achimota School enough, so we should, as part of the centenary, we should do something in art. Who's going to do it? It can't, once again, just be these 5, 6, 7, 10 people who are doing it. So by all means, the ideas are good, but please make time to either join the organization yourself or suggest other actors who have the competence, who have the expertise, who have the time, who have the resources, whatever it is, who can contribute. They say lots of hands make the load lighter. We can do this. I'm convinced, I'm clear in my mind that we can and we will, but please help with organization beyond just suggestions. 3, once it is that we've put our shoulders to the wheel and we've organized these events, please attend. The example has been given today about the event that happened today at the games field, which once again had been advertised quite a bit. And I want to come to a point where a couple of people in the chat have asked where, for instance, was today's town hall advertised. And when we go into the question session, I'd want to find out where everybody found information, because this particular event has been advertised on our social media channels. And for me, the most important place is been sent to the OAA Presidents and Year Groups WhatsApp page. The reason why that page exists is to say that for every information that is shared there, the year group presidents and representatives are responsible for forwarding or sharing that information with their year groups. So when we go into a town hall that has been advertised for over 2 weeks, and people are receiving these notices 5 minutes to the town hall, it tells me that as year group presidents and representatives, we are neglecting our responsibility of sharing information with our constituents, with our year groups. I've also gone into meetings where year group members have said, oh, it was never posted. And then we've said, go through your year. Oh, it's there. So posting it is one thing, but we've also got to be responsible for checking. I've suggested to year group representatives and the year group presidents that beyond your year group platforms that have their regular activity, please set up notice boards where people can just go there for information. But it's critical that all these things that we are doing are passed on to the larger Accra populace, and we can't do it if we're not helping ourselves. So please provide ideas, please participate in organizing these events, and please attend. This takes me to the 4th one, finance. How are we financing the celebrations, and how are we financing these 2 pillars we've spoken about, celebrations and Achimota's future? It's important, once again, for all of us across to support in financing Achimota at 100 and setting up the asset fund to ensure that Achimota at 200 is a reality. Next slide. So I'm going to spend a little more time talking about finance because it's critical. I referenced communications that went out to all of us year groups speaking about a levy that's supposed to has a target of raising 20 million Ghana cedis towards both the centenary celebrations, what we call the now, and a contribution into the asset fund, which Accra Kofi Finn has spoken so brilliantly about, that will guarantee Achimota's future. 20 million. Of course, as expected, we've received all kinds of commentary asking about how we've arrived at these figures and how it is that we're going to raise these figures. And so I think I want to take advantage of this town hall to try and clarify this. Next slide, please. So we didn't pull the figure out of a hat. Why 20 million? Next slide, please. Next slide. First, there were once again 2 pillars that informed this 20 million decision. First, let's look at history. Only, I don't know, we're 2026 now. So 9 years ago, Achimota turned 90. So we've done a similar celebration only 9 years ago. Achimota at 90. The total budget for Achimota at 90 9 years ago was 3.8 million. So we figured as we are planning, as we're going through the processes, because we can't wait to the very end to get actual figures before we start raising funds, we needed to start from somewhere. So we went to history. And we said, if it cost Achimota at 90, 3.8 million, what would that projected 10 years further cost? So what was the value of 3.8 million cedis 10 years ago? What would it be today and into next year? So we did some math. Just throw that figure, for instance, even into ChatGPT, and it will tell you that the value of the exchange rate, US dollar to CD at the time, 9 years ago, was 4.4 cedis to a dollar. So the 3.8 million at the time, Ghana cedis at the time, was the equivalent of 864,000 US dollars. Next slide, please. So if we are going to adjust for inflation, and we haven't even used Ghana inflation, we all know what Ghana inflation looks like. We've gone to competitive markets and said, okay, let's just use US inflation to factor in what that figure would look like today. Okay? So US cumulative inflation of 25 to 30%. So that figure, that value at that time, 864,000 US dollars, will be the equivalent of 1.12 million US dollars today. Now, if we were to convert that back into Ghana cedis at today's rate of 11, and we know that on the black market it's a little more, the bank rate is a little less. So we're using an average, a decent average of 11. The value of that figure today would be in the range of, the lower and the upper figures, 11.9 million to 12.3 million. So we just say, okay, you know what? The value of what we spent at 90 today is 12 million. Now, we also know that for the 100th celebration, the scale of 100 versus what we did at 90 is, 1.5 times. And I can give you several examples. So, for instance, Accra Harold referenced the lunch that we have after the school, the Founders Day Deba. Now, we're going to have people coming from all over the world. And typically, for the non-milestone events, the Founders Day lunch, Founders Day Thanksgiving lunch is really just attended by the year groups that are celebrating, and then a few maybe staff and students of Achimota School. That has been held in the past in the Assembly Hall. Even for last year, which was not the Jubilee year, this year, which was not the celebration year, the Assembly Hall couldn't hold the 1976, 1986, and 2001 year groups. Clearly, now having so many other people attending what we expect will be a much bigger event, including all the guests that we're inviting, the chiefs who are attending the Deba, special guests from outside the country, we've got to now go and rent a tent, like we did for those of you who remember the Grand Ball for Achimota at 100. And there's no other venue at Achimota School. So we're going to have to rent a tent and air conditions over several days on probably the games field to be able to house that lunch. That is cost that is typically not expected. That is cost that we didn't incur at Achimota at 90, that we are going to incur now. The Deba itself is going to be much bigger. You saw the Deba that was hosted by 76, 86, and 2001 today, where we use trusses. Now, once again, we are inviting much more people. That Deba, the plan for this year's Deba is to invite various big chiefs to attend. What it means is that we're going to have much more space to cover. And once again, we're going to have to spend money on the setup that we've never done in any other year, because the centenary is not like none other. The Grand Ball itself, several other events, Achimota Subjugates in worship, which last year was also an outdoor event, is going to be much bigger now. So in terms of equipment, in terms of trusses, in terms of sound, in terms of lights, those costs will be significantly more than 9 years ago, or the 90th anniversary. And then, of course, there are all the other events that we are doing around the world that are brand new in terms of the scale compared to the 90th anniversary. So when you look at history and the fact that the actual value today is 12 million, and the fact that we need to project for some growth in the expenditure, roughly ballpark, we're probably looking at, even if you just do a decent 10% increase or 20% increase, you're already at about 15 million. So that's one case. Then we go to looking at the tentative budgets that have been provided by the various year groups as we speak, and they're still putting numbers together. When you look at that, and we're showing you these various slides, the various top headings. So Achimota Speaks, for instance, is going to cost us renting out, what's the name of the venue again? What's the
Academy of Arts and Science.
Academy of Arts and Sciences, equipment that we need to put
Auditorium.
there. And we're doing it once every month, plus the two that we're trying to do outside, one up north, one in the total budget projected so far for hiring of venue, equipment, and all of that, 700,000. Once again, it's gone up slightly from 9 years ago, the 90th anniversary. These are just various headings. Next slide, please. So when you tally based on various committees and the tentative budget that have come up, next slide. And this is not even exhaustive. We arrive at, I think there's a final slide. So this shows the various headings that the various committees have come up with tentatively as they build their budgets. Final slide. Next slide, please. We arrive at a budget today based on tentative figures that have been provided of 11 million. So we are 12 million if we project, potentially a little more if we add scale. And the budget today, as we speak, not final budgets, is already at 11.2. So we figured, you know what? If we are able to raise 10 million from Access, and we can't burden Access with all of it, because in addition to this, we are also going to go out for corporate sponsorship events. We're going to go out for, and some of the events will be ticketed. So some of those events will come up with their own funds. We're also going to sell advertising space, whether it's in brochures, this, that, and the other. So we will try and raise additional funds for these events to be able to reach the potential 15 million. But there's still a core amount of money that we across need to put our skin in that game to be able to ensure that we're having a decent celebration for Achimota. So once again, let's just bank. I'll come to a little further detail, but let's just bank this initial 10 million, potentially 15 million as the cost of the celebration. And we are clear in our minds, like we said, that we don't want to just finish Achimota at 100 and say, oh, it was such a wild celebration, we spent X. And then ask ourselves the question, so what happens to Achimota School beyond this? We say we are planning for advocacy. We say we are building a war chest. We say we are planning for teaching and learning. We say that our resources are not enough. How are we going to supply this? Are we going to go back to these same access all over every single year? Let's remember, across that the opportunity that this milestone presents won't happen every time. We will go to Access. Yes, we'll keep coming to you. We'll keep coming to you, cup in hand. But the excitement, the engagement, the camaraderie, the commitment, I said excitement already. That a centenary presents doesn't happen every day. So if we don't use this opportunity to maximize, if you will, our ability to support the school, then of course we're potentially missing out. Okay, next slide. So look at those two pillars. The amount of money we need to raise to use for the centenary, and the fact that we want to at least get a similar amount of money for the future. So hence the conclusion to raise 20 million, not just to quote unquote blow it in the celebration, but to provide 50% of that money towards the centenary, which is what we're calling it now, and to put 50% away in the asset fund towards the future. Next slide. So we put out a communication that levied year groups across different economic active lines. So we said, look, on the face of it, there are probably 30 what we will call quote unquote economically active year groups. And of course, we do recognize that some will be more active than others. That will always be the case. But from 1978 all the way to 2009 year group, we said, let each year group raise 500,000 Ghana cedis. And once again, I'll break it down a little further. And then we said we recognize that year groups slightly before may not have, in terms of the numbers, in terms of the fact that a good number of them have retired, blah, 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 even though a good number of them may be quite liquid, may not be as resourced as the 30 economically active year groups that we identified. So for those older year groups from 1965 to 1976, we said, you know what, just do 50% of the original levy. And then we had a third category who we call the Accra babies, who are younger, but who have larger numbers. And we said, okay, let them do 150 each. And when you put all that together, people who fall outside of that, corporate bodies who may support, blah, 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 all others together, 800, we arrive at a total of 20 million, of which 50% will go to centenary celebrations and 50% will go to the future. As soon as this went out, and understandably so, it's important that people understand why we're doing these things. And I'm like again, I said we didn't pull it out of a hat. Next slide. we started getting questions. Now, I think it's important that we discuss what the logic, how we arrived at the 500. It wasn't just a number. We said, look at these economically active year groups. Typically, most of these year groups have at least 150 members. Each year group, and we all know that we all across, we're all dealing with this. So in every year group, some are more active than others, one. Some are better resourced than others, two. And three, in some year groups, you don't even know where some of the members are. Some just don't care. It's an Hashimoto's problem. We've spoken about apathy. We are dealing with it. So even though we say each of those year groups would have at least 150 members, some will be 300, some will be, I don't know, 120, some would 180. We said, let's work with a minimum of 100 members of that year group. So whether you have 300 members, 500 members, or 150 members, let's just use for our computation 100 members per year group. Recognizing that even of that 100, some are more able and or willing than others. Okay? Point number 3. If we assume only 100 contributors per year group, let's break it down to say each year group member of this 100 contribute 5,000 cedis towards Hashimoto at 100. Or if you're in the US or you earn US dollars, once again, it's probably 430 something. But let's say, just for the ease of computation, $500, or if you're earning pounds or whatever the equivalent is in euro, blah, 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 350. So let's just use 3 currencies. 5,000 per head for 100 contributors per year group, or $500 per head for 100 contributors per year group, or 350 pounds per head for 100 contributors per year group. Now, we are not even saying that pay all of that money upfront today. Now, of course, because we are planning, all of us plan something or the other, whether it's an outdooring or we all do something in our offices, but we know that you need cash upfront. But even if you were to spread that 5,000 cedi that we're asking that each member of each year group of the 30 active year groups over a 10-year period, essentially this ask is to say, Akros, please commit 500 cedis a month for 10 months towards Hashimoto at 100. Now, for the Akros who've reached out to me and said, but why 500? How are we going to raise 500,000? When I've taken my time and broken it down, the response without fail has been, oh, it's not that bad. So we did put some thinking to, indeed, this conversation actually started in a full meeting with Accra year group presidents and representatives. We went back and forth. The dream, to be honest, was actually try and raise something more once again because of the big picture, trying to fight for an Hashimotoan autonomy, Hashimotoan legacy, and all of those things. But we all worked through the math and said, look, I mean, it's hard times, it's tough times, blah, blah, blah. But if you break it down, if you divvy it up to the smallest unit and reduce it to monthly contributions, quarterly contributions, yearly contributions, it's really, if we have to be honest, not difficult to achieve. So, Akras, it's important that once again we don't look at just the top figure, the 500,000 that per year group, but let's break it down to what it means for us as individuals in terms of our contribution to this total. And and to reiterate, essentially what we're saying is that everybody in every year group of that active number should just contribute 5,000 cedis. Now, it's not even 5,000 cedis necessarily out of your pocket, it's what you're responsible for. So if you can pay it out of your pocket, great. If you can't, but you can do levies in church, or you can go to other Accra members or whatever, you are just responsible for raising 500 as your 5,000, pardon me, 5,000 cedis as your contribution through your year group for Hashimoto at 100. Across, this cannot be an impossible ask. And then by the same token, then of course the 250 becomes a smaller figure, which essentially is 250. The younger Accras essentially are 150 a month over a 10-month period. And it's important that because we are starting the planning, we need to raise as much as we can, as quickly as we can. But even if we were to spread and start that contribution this month, really, by the end of January, which is the beginning of the centenary year, each Accra, if we were to start contributing 500 cedis this month, would have finished our 5,000 contribution towards Hashimoto at 100 by the end of January 2027. So that's the logic. And that's how we arrived at 500 CDs, 500,000 CDs per year group. I've received all kinds of commentary, some that I wouldn't want to repeat. But like I said, for those who've bothered to pick up the phone to call me or to call members of the executive or to ask questions, to engage, once you've explained, the answer has always been a resounding, oh, yes, this we can do. So please, Akres, for those of you who've attended this meeting, I recognize that we're only 160 out of, I don't know, thousands of Akres. Please pass this information on to our various year groups, our various friends, our various colleagues, our dorm members, our cadet groups, our various groups, and please explain to them how it is that we arrive at these figures and what the ask is, so that together we can contribute to make sure that Achimota at 100 is great as a celebration, but also we can put some money away towards ensuring that Achimota stays great. Accra Eunice, next slide. So, having said all that, we do recognize that this is a bigger ask for some year groups than others, because sometimes the numbers in those year groups are smaller. Some year groups have actually just finished in the last 2 or 3 years their own legacy projects. Other year groups had already started raising funds. My own year group 89, Accra Herald's year group 88 have started raising funds towards our legacy projects. But honestly, to each of these year groups and to all of us across, my response is simply, like I said at the beginning, Achimota turns 100 only once. So yes, we all have plans for our cash. We all have school fees to pay. We all have other commitments. But let's take this opportunity to dig a little deeper for this celebration. And my response has always been to my year group, to Accra Herald's year group, true, you started planning X amount of money towards a classroom block. But Achimota is 100 only once. So if that means an additional 500 CDs, if that means an additional 1,000 CDs out of whatever it is that you had planned already, please dig a little deeper and let's make sure that we can do both our legacy projects as planned and Achimota at 100, but also ensure that Achimota at 200 is a reality. So yes, there will be pushback from people who genuinely want to push back, or from people who, unfortunately, I'm learning, will push back for pushback's sake, will ask all kinds of questions. My rebuttal, my answer is simply yes, true. Whatever the concerns are, true. But Achimota is 100 only once. So please, let's dig a little deeper for Achimota at 100, for the now and for the future. Aquarius, next slide, please. And for all these year groups, of course, once again, in that communication that went out, there will be recognition. We want to make sure that all of us, all year groups that are going over and above to ensure that this Achimota at 100 and Achimota at 200, for that matter, happen, get recognized. So there'll be a monument. The location for this particular year group monument is, I think it's like behind Livingston House on the stretch from the dining hall towards the OAA Secretariat. There's a spot that has been found. We're working on the design for the monument, but all year groups that contribute will appear on that monument, of course, in the order in which they contribute their 500,000. So that in perpetuity, we all know that these are the year groups that stepped up for Achimota at 100 and Achimota at potentially 200. Next slide, please. So that brings me to the end of the fourth part. I think it's a good time to stop and try and answer questions from all the segments, of course, from the strategy that we started with through to the centenary celebrations, the asset fund and how it runs, and of course, how we're financing both Achimota at 100 and the future. So, Aquarius, if you can kindly open up the questions. We can take questions that have been raised inside of the charts. And then, of course, we can, for those who've raised their hands already, we can start taking and answering some of these questions. Akras, thank you very much for your time. We've already done an hour and 47 minutes. I'm sure we can do another 13 minutes at least, try and address suggestions, questions, and anything, and round this up within the 2-hour mark. Thank you very much once again. Accra, Eunice, I think you had mentioned somebody had their hand up. I think when Accra Kofi was presenting, so maybe we can start with that.
That was Sunday. It just said Sunday.
I'm sorry, say again.
Sandy.
Sandy. Accra Sandy?
Yes.
Accra Sandy, if you're still online, your question to Accra Kofi about asset fund. Otherwise, I'm going to start answering the questions as I see in the chat. The word is join. Does it mean we all have to be physically present? Can we help remotely? Absolutely. You can. A good number of the people who joined the planning committee, Accra, please correct me if I'm wrong, are not even based in Ghana. And like I said, we all have different strengths, we all have different abilities. Sometimes it's just the idea, but contributing it in a way that can be executed. Somebody says, look, I don't have the time, but I have cash. Somebody says, I don't have cash, but I can attend, I can help train opera, the students who are training for the opera. You don't have to be physically present to help, essentially, is my answer. You can suggest you can help in a myriad of ways, so please do. Please provide links to the various centenary planning committees. Accra Herald, I'm sure you've seen that. So for the 87 group, this $500 is separate from the centenary project. The notice that went up was because the celebrating year groups, because they're doing most of the heavy lifting in this centenary year, are not part of this levy. So 77, 87, 2002 are excused from this levy. Get the school to shorten Accra, Asabia, Ofosuapia 77-year group. Get the school to shorten the Deba dances to 15 minutes. Old people can't sit for too long. Accra, I promise you that. The Central Planning Committee met 2-3 weeks ago, and that's one of the key things that came out. We are going to make sure. I mean, there are a few things that we've learned from the last 2 or 3 Debes, the boys chorus, the various changes that we'll make. But once again, making sure that we don't go beyond a certain limit. I think it was 15 minutes that was discussed. Is one of the things that we'll do. So please, you can go to bed on that one. We definitely will make sure that it doesn't happen this time. If I'm missing any other one, anybody can read and hold on, let me take it from the top. Is sound okay? Yes, sound is okay. Identification. And you've been unmuted. So if you have a question, please raise your hand and go ahead and ask as well. The link to the meeting was shared very late. I think I've tried to address that in my presentation. It's been shared for the last, 2 weeks easily. And I'm hoping that all year group presidents and representatives forwarded to the various groups. I've seen them on various Accra fora. I think we also, as Accras, need to be make a little more concerted effort to read the things that get posted. But it's been shared, it's been on social media. If, once again, open suggestions, if there are other ways in which you think we can reach you, please suggest. The question has been asked about whether we have a database. We're trying to build that as well. We're trying to add, Accra Kofi said we have part of it. I would say, from where I sit, we're at almost zero. We're trying to build on. I've had meetings with various groups now, USA, Canada. We're looking to meet up with the UK. We're looking for expertise. So please, if you are in the field where you can help us build a base, once again, please put up your hand. Let's get all the help we can. But we definitely need a solid Accra database that tells us who's in Accra, where they are, what they're doing, what they can help with, what they can mentor, expertise, the area of their career area, the area of professional expertise, all of those things. But we need a solid Accra database. So please, if you can help us in that regard, we'll be grateful.
President, there are 2 hands up. Sorry.
I don't see them, so please go ahead and call them up.
All right, Sabia Ofosuapia and another hand raised.
Okay, Accra Sabia, please go ahead.
You may
be muted.
I've written quite a lot of stuff on the chat.
Okay, I'm going through them.
I feel we miss too many opportunities of making money. So we have a lot of souvenirs. These should be on sale everywhere, every time we have anything, any activity, Agri Chapel. When we come out of the Agri Chapel, during the centenary, because there are lots of people I have tried to invite from abroad. They will be coming. They will not know where to get these things. They can buy it on the day. This was done very nicely at Achimota at 90 when we had a disco. We have to take into account of disabled people. So a lot of people have written to me and said, "So I need help. There should be a ramp so as I can get there and sit down." You've already answered the fact that those dances should not be more than 15 minutes because the seats are not comfortable for the older generation. Also, I feel the getting in touch with people we have to sit down and think about it very, very carefully. A lot of people have emails. It just goes to junk mail because people don't really use emails anymore. So we have to rely on WhatsApp. Lots of people have WhatsApp. But the truth of the matter is, in most year groups, you ask around, only 10 people come, maybe at the most 30 people will turn up. We have to just rely on those people and get those people to get in touch with their friends on their WhatsApp groups. That way we'll go further. And it don't have to be an Accra. Just invite everybody. And
The
then
Accra champions. Yeah.
We can also just, if you say you are coming to the football thing like today, pay 10 cedis, 50 cedis just to show that your interest. So that if you don't turn up, we've made some money, even though you did not turn up. We girls didn't play football, so definitely I was surprised to see Kinsey and all sorts of things there. Nobody was going to turn up, in my opinion. But I just think that we should take every opportunity to just take a small amount. That's torchlight procession. Accra's come, they pick up their torchlight and they're gone. Charge every Accra 10 cedis for that torchlight. The school should not be involved in that at all. That will make us a little bit of money. Let's just look at every way of A, getting money, and B, getting in touch with people. Just tell people, everybody in your WhatsApp group, no matter whether they are Accras or not, send it. You see some of them will say, "I'm not an Accra." Tell them we are inviting all old schools. So that's why I've written to you that if you'll be interested in coming, can you let us know? Because we are looking at numbers. I think that with that, we will have a rough idea, those who will attend and those who won't, because people are very clear when it's just a one-to-one. They will tell you, "No, I'm not coming." So those are the things that matter to me the most, getting in touch
Thank you very much.
people.
Thank you very much. I think that the ideas you suggest about champions, that's the reason why we set up the year group platform, reps and representatives.
Yes,
Year group presidents and representatives. But we've got to add, to your point, we've got to add on. And the other thing is that sometimes in every year group, it's not even the president. They are really the champions, if you like. And so if you can identify them and make sure that every Accra is passing it on, then I guess we win twice. So very valid point there.
Yeah.
You raised the point about the ramp. I'm happy to announce that we've actually, the 86 year group that's refurbishing the Agri Chapel has included a ramp. That was one of the asks to make sure there was a ramp. But we've also made sure that there's also now a ramp, once again, same year group, from the road to the back of the assembly, the old assembly hall. So in terms of ramps, those critical buildings have ramp access now. And we're going to make sure that for all the Accra events, all the centenary events, there's disabled access as well. Sorry.
As an older man struggling to get to the front to go and sit down with 2 walking sticks. Again.
When was this?
This last one. So I saw there was an ambulance. Can we supply about 6 wheelchairs? So as if we see anybody struggling to get to the front to watch the Deba, we just wheel them straight there. We should have what's it called? Those girls the ashes. We should have ones that are for disabled or ashes for disabled specifically. They should watch out for anybody who's struggling to get on to go and sit down under the tents. We shouldn't forget that at all. So
very well done
for the Agri Chapel, well done for the this thing. But I think I was imagining it, but I think I saw stones put somewhere in front of all these places. Well, wheelchairs cannot go on stones with ease. So that is a big problem. So a little section should be cleared so that there are no stones, so that the wheelchair can go up and down.
Okay.
So that's my suggestion. But I think getting in touch with as many people as possible, even if they are not across, and one-to-one, that's the trick.
Thank you, Accra.
It's ignored by many.
I'm sorry, say again.
That's what I have to say.
I'm sorry, say that again. The last one.
I said the global emails is ignored by many.
I ignored. Okay. All right. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Eunice, you said there was another hand up.
Hi, my name is Petronella. I'm 87.
Yes.
So just question about the asset fund. I don't think, I'm assuming it doesn't apply to us because we are obviously donating towards our legacy project. We don't have to donate into that asset fund for the legacy project, right?
Accra, you can start and then I'll finish. Oh, you're not there. Accra, Petronella, is that the name? I remember the name from Achimota School. Accra, help me with the pronunciation of your name again, please. Hold on.
Petronella. Sorry, I was muted. I just managed to unmute Joel.
Okay.
Hi, Petronella. So, we're transitioning, right? And so I'm sure you've already started raising funds for 87, and there's probably a way and method in which you did it in the past. What we're saying is we're encouraging everybody to do it through the asset fund, and there are two reasons why. Structurally, the asset fund allows for both operational funds and endowment funds. Operational funds allow you to use the actual, let's call it principal or capital for your projects. So it's not the same as an endowment fund where you cannot touch the contribution and you can only touch the income. In the last 3 years, the Records Night, the group that puts the Records Night together has been contributing to the asset fund with increasing amount of money. And they designate a part of the money to go to an endowment fund and a part of it to go towards the celebrating year groups. And so we for each of those year groups, we set up operating funds for them. If you do it through the asset fund, it's going to be in one place, it's going to be recognized, and it's going to be clear that members of your year group have made their contributions. So if somebody else is coming to ask you for money, it will be very clear that you've contributed to Achimota School and it's in one place. Because of our structures, because we're doing this through the centralized bank account with the audit trails and everything, we expect that it will be a lot more robust, and there are going to be less issues about accountability than have been in the past, where almost every year group has had some complaint about some money not being used appropriately. So we're not insisting or enforcing, at least not yet, but we believe that it's a very good idea. And the year groups that have done this recently have done well.
So let me add to that real quick, Kofi. So so to add to that point, we are transitioning to the point that you use the words Accra Kofi use. We're transitioning to that point. Today it's not mandatory, but ultimately we want to get to a point where all donations to Achimota School come through the asset fund. That said, in your particular case this year, the 87-year group, I know, for instance, I've been informed that you've chosen some have called it a Foreman block, some have called it the KB Asante block to refurbish that building. So no, you won't be required or mandated to pass the funds for that through the asset fund. However, I mentioned also in my earlier presentation that the decision has been taken that every single donation to Achimota School must have a percentage that mandatorily sits with the asset fund for maintenance. So that project you've chosen ultimately is going to go through the school board projects committee to make sure it's all been okay, blah, blah, blah. And one requirement would be that maintenance component is designated, and that will have to sit with the asset fund. So for instance, I'm not sure what I forget what the percentage is. I think it's about 10%. So for instance, if that project of yours was, I'm throwing a number, $100,000, you would have to have $10,000 of that money in the asset fund for maintenance once you're done. I hope that clarifies it for you. But the rest of it, the bulk of it, would not have to go through the asset fund. Is there any other hand up?
No, but There are a few more chats.
Okay, you
Accra
can go ahead.
Kingsley of Cancer is asking if you can share the strategic plan.
Yes, we can.
Accra Petronella says, did you say there was an asset form for the mobile app? And then, Accra Asabia, Accra Asabia Fosuapia, what are the OAA channels and where will you share the link?
Brian, you may want to answer that before you continue reading. I think there's a Facebook page. We send the link via emails to the database, the database that we have, the year group reps page that I spoke about. It's been on Instagram. It's anywhere else. I think has it been on LinkedIn? Not sure about that.
It's on all the OAA social media handles.
I think the question is which are the OA social media handles. So Facebook for sure, Instagram.
Oh, okay.
I think it's on LinkedIn as well, and then it's gone through WhatsApp, and then directly to the email addresses that we do have. But of course, the point has been made that people are not reading their emails. Okay, keep going. It's we've done 2 hours and 4 minutes. I just want to make sure if there are any questions that have been in the chat, we can address them before we.
Accra's Old Achimota Association. Accra's giving to Achimota School has been made easy with the Asset Fund Giving Portal. Access to the portal is at this link, www.assetfund.org.
I also see Accra Professor Emmanuel Ame. I suggest some of the centenary generated funds be used to open an AI and robotics lab for current students. I'm happy to say I noticed Accra Martinentry of the 83-year group was on earlier. I don't know if he's still there, but I'm happy to confirm that the 1983-year group has been championing an AI and robotics lab for the school for the last, I believe, 3-4 years. So yes, by all means, we will support that as well.
Yes, and the 1993-year group is going to build a robotics lab.
Okay. So I think we've addressed.
Again. Pardon?
Sorry. I was saying I thought we had addressed.
Please go out.
No, I thought we had addressed all the points that had been raised. If there's one I'm missing, please go ahead and read it.
All right.
Oh,
I suggest we who want to buy.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I suggest we get all who want to attend, buy tickets for the event. A token sum. Oh no, that's been talked about.
Okay, so let me read this one then. Accra Jijo Senanu of 2013 asks, does one get any form of recognition, such as having names on plaques, if they make the significant contribution personally, but their year group does not? If yes, what is the amount? Accra, very good question. Now, I spoke about the year group monument, but there's also going to be an Achimota monument, the Wall of Fame, which is going to be in front of the area in front of the Form 2 block between the it's Form 2 block, Agri House, Assembly Hall, and the Art Block. That space is going to have a centenary monument where all contributors to the centenary will be recognized. Now, I'm sure you've also heard specifically about, and Accra Kofin referenced it, the clinic that we're trying to build as part of the centenary. If every donation of $1,000 or more will be recognized on a plaque for the clinic, and I'm not sure, I have to check what the figure is for getting on the Wall of Fame generally, but yes, there is opportunity and there will be recognition for individuals and organizations who contribute, I believe, above $1,000 or more to the celebration. So please organize your personal and corporate cash and reach out. And then Accra, if can we reduce spending on the celebration, especially activities that require a lot of logistics, so that we can put more on the asset fund? Accra, like I said, it's still work in progress. Very valid point, and that's why we want to make sure that at least 50% goes to the asset fund. Yes, and we'll try and make sure that there. And I think Accra Harold referenced that there's a whole wish list of let's do this, let's do that, let's do this, let's do that. Some of them just are not realistic. And so we're trying to scale down to make sure that, as they say, less is more. We're doing a few, but very noteworthy events to make sure that Achimota 100 is memorable. Accra Joa Bohini says, hey, year group president, thank you very much. Shared the link several times. Great. I'm hoping all year group presidents will follow suit, not just for this, but for every other information that comes through the portal. How can year groups that are 10 years and below play a role in this? Once again, it's not just the cash, it's the organization, it's the ideas. But in terms of cash, you would notice that there's an 800,000 figure that we left open to anybody who can contribute anything at all. There's also, once again, just try and get everybody to be able to say they contributed to Achimota at 100, even if you just left Achimota school. There's the general donation of Achimota at the 100 at 100 general fund. So if all you have, because you just graduated from Achimota school, is 100 cedis over the next year, contribute at 100 cedis to the 100 and 100 promo towards the centenary celebration. Special thanks to presenters. I suggest Accra Samomafu 2005 year group could help us with a database. Awesome. Accra Eunice, did you get that? Accra Samomafu. So somebody should please get us his contacts and let's see how he can help. Do we reach out to former pupils of Achimota School? Yes, we do. Through their year group. Sorry, through the Accurate organization. Once again, the way the Accra organization or the secondary school is reaching out in these for various fora, we're hoping that once we engage the leadership of the primary school, they're also passing that on to the old people, because once again, we don't even have a database for the secondary school, much less the primary school. So we're hoping that we'll engage at various levels. And I'm also hoping that, especially for those Accras who did both the primary and the secondary, this information, once you pass on to the other colleagues who went to other schools from the primary school, so that at least we're getting the word out there. I think we've done. Accra asked the same question I was asked before. I've answered that. Some centenary generated funds to be used. AI, I've answered that. Hope year group presidents and executive will be mandated to hold subsequent meetings with respective year groups to ensure this information is passed along. Very well, we will do that. We'll make sure that at the year group reps level it's happening. And us as executive, even at the executive level, we've broken it up into what we're calling representatives, various decade representatives or account managers or relationship managers. So if indeed when you're meeting your various year groups, you need me or the vice president or a member of the exco to join you to explain some of these things, we are more than willing to do that. So please let us know when you're meeting and if you need us to join to explain some of these things. Accra Nana Akosa 91. My question is: is the hospital going to cater for only students and teachers? Yes, it's not open to the general public. That's actually the problem that we're trying to cure. So to be specific, just to students of Achimota School, basic and secondary, and their teachers. Thanks for a good meeting. Accra Eunice, the number for Accra Samomafo is in the chat now. So if we can get that, then I think it's a wrap.
I've seen it. And Accra, Gloria, Dodo, and one other hand are up.
Okay, we've done 2 hours and 11 minutes. Accra, Gloria, Dodo, you have the floor.
Thank
you. May be muted. Go for it.
Thank you, Accra President. Accra Bohini, Adjoa Bohini, put a question in there about some risk management when it comes to the bonfire night. I think we missed that.
We missed that, yeah.
We've raised in our year group, there's been a discussion actually.
Which year group is this, by the way?
86.
86, okay.
About what we're doing about in terms of climate change, where Accras are known to lead the way. So is there any plans to have a more climate, what's the word to use? Friendly, climate friendly way of celebrating the bonfire night. And in fact, I wasn't there this last Founders Day, but watching it on the video, I was like, the numbers have increased a lot. The student population has increased.
It's
And
crazy.
obviously, the 99th year celebration drew a lot of people to come. And looking at how people were holding those lamps, and it's like, it will only take a flare to catch somebody's wig, and we're in trouble. So
Valid point.
we need to assess the risk, mitigate it some way, somehow. If we can remove it altogether, that will be the ultimate best. But if we can't, we need to manage it better because, I mean, it's like an accident waiting to happen.
Very well. Thank you very much. I'll
Thank
take that
you.
to the Central Planning Committee. Akra, you're here as well. Let's see if what ways they are around it. I think it's not just this meeting. I think it's come up a few times in the past. So let's figure out how to deal with the points that have been raised. Yeah. Akra Yunus, you mentioned one more person whose hand was up.
Yes.
Well, if there's no more, across, it's been 2 hours and 13 minutes. I think that you've been very generous with your time, and we all truly appreciate it. Thank you so very much. I think the most important thing for me as a takeout from this meeting would be for the 170 of us who attended, to help pass this information along and answer some of the questions that we don't get a chance to answer because we're not in those rooms when those conversations happen. And by all means, you know how to reach us. If you have any questions, please come back to me as your president, your year group president, the various OA executives, the OA secretariat. Let's engage. I go back to, I reference the strategy document and the fact that one of the pillars is engaging across, not just about fundraising, but about welfare. Which Accra is not doing too well? How can we support? Which Accra has expertise in AI and robotics? I see hands going up saying, I volunteer to help with the database. Thank you very much. There are so many Accras everywhere who can help with something or the other. And we can make the OA a much stronger organization than it is today. So please, please, please engage. Thank you very much once again, Accra Harold, for your presentation, Accra Kofifin for your presentation. Thank you very much, all Accras, for your contributions, for your questions. Accra Eunice, thank you very much for guiding this. I think we'll end with a closing prayer, Accra Eunice, if you don't mind, and then we will sing from Gambaga to Accra, and we can all go to bed.
Thank you very much, Accra President. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you once again for being in our midst. We thank you for driving this meeting, and we thank you for all the ideas and thoughts that have come across. And we pray that we are able to find solutions to each and every one of them, especially where there are problems, so that together we will have a wonderful celebration. Bless each and every Accra here and everywhere while we plan our celebration. This and many other things we ask through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen. And now, Accra, as we are wont to do, we will never leave this without from Gambaga to Accra. Whenever we've tried to do this in a virtual meeting, it's been rather cacophonous, but I charge each and every one of you, even if it's not in melody, please sing it yourself, finish the song wherever you are, and let the world know that Achimota is turning 100 next year. So with that, I will give the tune and say, from Gambaga to Accra, from Riosu to Kita. We are brothers and our mother is our school. Accra Eunice, please unmute them. It said, please unmute us. It said, please unmute us. Please, let's sing together. Please unmute everybody.
Let's see.
Great.
Okay.
We are muted now.
Oh,
From
okay.
Gambaga to
we are
brothers and our mother is our school.
It is not uniform.
Guide
It's
us
not
all
uniform.
So together we may teach. So to stand together, we know. And
live again
again,
without
alternating. And having
having
is the heart of the whole. She's the school of whom we boast. She's the glory of the whole. She's the head of all the hosts. She's the school of whom we boast. She's the glory of the whole.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for making
Thank
time.
you. Thank
Wish you
you.
all a great
Thank
weekend.
Hello,
you,
Accra
Accra
President.
President.
Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
one
Thank
last
you.
announcement, please.
Good
One
night.
last announcement. Please, I want all of us to follow OA's channel. You won't miss any information. So go to WhatsApp channel, search for Old Achimota Association, and all the information. We've backdated them last year. You find every information there.
Can you
So
put,
whilst
please?
we are waiting for our year group president to post, you can also go to the channel and the information will be there. I share the link in the chat.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Good night. Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Good night. Good night.
Good night.
Good afternoon.
Good
Good night.
morning.
Somewhere
Good
else.
afternoon. Good evening. Good night.